Hi, everyone. Breaking news. RFK Jr. has declared that keto cures schizophrenia. So, anybody listening who is schizophrenic, all you have to do is switch your diet to keto only. And as the days go by, you're going to start noticing your schizophrenia seeping out of your ear holes, dissipating into thin air as if you never had it to begin with. But the catch is you have to eat like keto until you die because as soon as you go back, schizophrenia is coming back, you know? Kind of like the autism with the Tylenol. Like, what is up with these evil sacks of shit? I can't believe that these evil sacks of shit just continue to exist. And it looks like physically they should have died decades ago, but no, they continue to exist like that motherfucker. And speaking of, this is a very, I would say this is a tangent, but I'm not really talking about like much here. Speaking of like evil sacks of shit, I've talked on here before about Alicia's stepfather, who we don't even use that word to describe whatever the fuck that is. Um, he's like 5'4", uh, so fucking skinny. You should be able to just like blow on him and he'll snap in half and die. Like that's how fucking skinny and frail this dude is. He's just so skinny and so wrinkly and so just miserable looking. And it looks as though anything should be able to kill him. Like I remember um it was January and the very first time I met him was when we were celebrating Thanksgiving in January. Because that's when her family likes to celebrate holidays, is way after they've passed. So I remember sitting down across from that little fucker and just this pit in my stomach. And if everything felt dark and it was like this like gross energy emanating off of him. And I thought to myself, like, does anybody else not notice this? Well, like it took years to figure out that like they just were stuck in it. It was all clouds and doom and gloom down there. And he's still alive and it's still like that. And all of these years that I have known her family, I haven't even said like three sentences to that motherfucker because he's disgusting. But, anyways, I would joke over the years, like, how come your mom doesn't just poison that motherfucker? Because she doesn't like him either. Maybe I shouldn't have said that just now, but it's not like anything happened. I'm just like, he's so miserable. He's so evil. He's disgusting. He creates problems. He's like just a fucking succubus. And this motherfucker gets into a car accident the other night and it rolls. And he walks away. No marks on him. No scratches, no nothing. Nothing. This little motherfucker shouldn't have, I mean, he should have at least gotten injured pretty seriously the way that it was described to me by Alicia. And no, he walked away as if like what the actual fuck is up with these evil motherfuckers living and existing longer than they should? Can anybody describe that to me? Like all of the just the exact right circumstances were set up. But anyways, I'm just saying, like, I don't understand why evil persists like this, because if I were like that, I just would imagine I'd be dead like years ago from a heart attack. I can't even imagine my body being able to contain that amount of evil. Like, you should see her. We'll call him a stepfather. Like, he is so small. Like, I don't know how he is able to just hold all of this evil inside of him. And it escapes to other people, obviously, but how? How? And you're still living? Why are these evil people just not croaking? But anyways, um, I really just got on here to. By the way, trigger warning. For anybody who is proud of the fact that they are serving in the military or have served. If you're proud of that, more power to you. But I'm not, so maybe just stop listening to me and click off right now. Um, because it's like I'm sitting back here, right, in my room and watching a video from the Midas Touch, and all of a sudden I'm hearing that the fucking military service members are being forced to go watch the Melania movie. So it looks like there's good sales because nobody the fuck else wants to watch it. And I was like, oh my God, the military really hasn't changed. Like, what did I don't know. I don't know what I thought. Like, how is this like still happening? Oh my God, do I have stories? And like social media wasn't even a thing when I was going through the military. Like I remember it was MySpace and that was the extent of social media, like MySpace. So like they've been doing shit similar to this for like years. This is the first time that it's been out in public. And to this extent, in case you haven't heard of it, apparently if you are in the military and you supported Evil Dick, then they're buying like batch ticket, like not that's not how you call it, like a is it a batch of tickets or just a whole bunch, and they're giving them to people and telling them that like you have to go to the theater and watch the Melania movie, and we're gonna call this a bonding exercise. So there's no choice. It's a you have to go. You don't get a say in it. So, and if you're in the military and you don't or haven't supported Evil Dick, you have to buy your own ticket and you have to show proof of purchase if you got it before you actually showed up to the venue, wherever it's being held on base. And if so, you also have to show proof that you were at the venue during the time that the movie was playing. Like, if this isn't a cult, then what is? What is this? Is a fucking cult. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. And for anybody who's not been in the military, like just you don't get, like I said, you don't get a choice. I mean, like technically, I guess you do, but the consequences are never good. It's you get brought into um see your first shirt, which is a weird term to describe somebody important in a position of authority. I always thought that was a weird fucking way to. In the Air Force, they called them first shirts. So it's a very important person apparently who gets to yell at you for doing something that you shouldn't have done, or you get written up, or you can get like arrested, or you can get just kicked out with a dishonorable discharge that follows you around and you never get to it doesn't matter like if you however long you were in the military for if you get a dishonorable discharge you don't get any of the perks of having been in the military and been a veteran. You don't get like discounts, you don't get like anything. You're just it's just a mark on your record for life. But anyway, where am I going with this? um like I'm trying to imagine myself like right now as I am, and there's no way I'd be like suitable for the military right now because I would not shut the fuck up about this issue. Like, you cannot do that. Like, I get that, like, you're not supposed to follow illegal orders, but like, how is this kind of not sort of illegal? You're forcing people against their will to do things that they don't want to do. Um, just because they're in the military and they signed up for a cult they didn't know they were going to be a part of. And if they try to break away and have like thoughts of their own, like bad things happen. That's basically what it is. And like that was my experience in the military. Like, for example, this isn't like maybe the same sort of example. I'm not sure. But excuse me. When I was in the military, this is back like 2002 to 2007 is when I was in. And I was stationed in Lakenheath, England. I worked at the command post. I was an emergency actions controller. So, like everything filtered through us first if it didn't go through the cops first. And, we're just responsible for like all kinds of shit that goes on around the base. And so I made it a point to volunteer for night shifts because nobody liked them. A lot of people had families, kids, and stuff like that, and I didn't. And I enjoyed night shifts because like day shift people are just fucking dumb. They were just so fucking dumb. The day shift people, like, we called them back office bitches. Oh my God, I forgot about that till just now. We used to call the day shift, the Monday through Friday, like, staff sergeant and above, like back office bitches, because you had the controllers doing all of the work at the desk. And then you had the back office bitches coming out from their fucking offices, like, you need to do this instead, try this instead, da 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 da, like telling you how to do your job when they really aren't like, they're, what do they call those peanut gallery people? Um, and anyways, so I didn't like any of them. And I worked the night shift the majority of the time that I was in the military. We would do 12-hour shifts because it was like I went in at the wrong time. And I went to the wrong base apparently because we were constantly understaffed. We never had enough staffing. It was always like scarcity instead of abundance. And it was because like a good half of us would be deployed throughout the world. And then we never got replacements. So whatever whoever's left got stretched thin. That's how I was able to stay on longer. Because when you're single, it's usually 2 years at a time at a base. At least that was back then when I was going through. So I got to spend my whole time there because they needed to keep their controllers. So, anyways, they had this thing called mandatory PT. They never had it on the same day and time. It was always random. They say once a week. Sometimes it was like once every 2 weeks. Sometimes it was once a month. For a couple of months, it was a once a week. It was once a week, but it was never the same day at the same time. Like what the sorry, I'm gonna say what the actual fuck again. I gotta get so like repeat on my mind. What the actual fuck? 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 Hopefully that leaves my body. So, anyways, where am I at with time? Okay, gotta keep it moving. Um, what was I saying? Yes. So the mandatory PT occurred during like regular duty hours, and it was typically like weird, like basically it didn't fit with my schedule, but I was told that I absolutely had to attend. Whatever the day and time was, no exceptions, it didn't matter. So I would get off of a 12-hour shift and I would have been awake much longer than 12 hours, obviously. And so let's say I got off work at 6 a.m. and mandatory PT was scheduled for 10 a.m. at the nearby field. So we could all sit in a circle and stretch and call it working out. And I remember talking to my supervisor. I was like, "Hey, can you like make sure you put me down as excused um for why I'm not going to PT?" And he was like, "You're not excused." And I'm like, "What? Do you realize that like that's in 3 hours and I live 45 minutes away from the base and I have to go home and sleep for tonight's night shift?" They gave no fucks. And it was basically, to cut the story short, it was a year of the majority of the time me not showing up to the PT. And then the next shift I had, having to just like throw logic and hello, you expect me to do this very important job on no sleep, which can cost lives, like literally, because you want me to go and sit in a circle and stretch, and that's called mandatory working out. Like, I'm not even joking, people. And eventually, I won. I mean, this is stuff I should have gotten kicked out of, is what I'm trying to say. Like, I said, every chance I got that I thought I could get away with it, I did. I defied them. And I stopped answering my phone and I would just face the wrath. It just became my norm for a whole year of what are they going to say next? And at one point, I was like, just kick me out. Just do it because you're stupid. So just kick me out. You don't want me to sleep. Like it was just, doesn't this sound insane to you? Eventually they gave up and they stopped trying to make me to go. Make me to go. You know what I mean? They stopped trying to make me go. Stupid motherfuckers. You think you're doing a night shift to get away from these assholes and they still dig their claws into you. Um, they would make appointments, dentist appointments, like annual things that you had to do no matter what. Like you didn't get a choice. You didn't get to skip a year and be like, nah, I don't feel like going to the dentist this year or whatever. No, you had to go. And you went when they told you to. Like you didn't get to just schedule an appointment unless you had something currently going on, which of course, you schedule an appointment and go. But if it's like a routine checkup, you're not allowed to miss those. And I swear they did this shit to me on purpose because, like, I get off of a night shift, 6 a.m., and my appointments are in the fucking morning, or they're on my days off. They couldn't even make them like an hour before, like, my night shift started. Like, it wasn't convenience at all. It was like, it felt like everything. I mean, I'm sure it was just like my mind running away with me, but like, it really felt to me like they were going out of their way to make my life miserable. And they couldn't get rid of me because they needed me and I was good at my fucking job. I just didn't like them. Anyways, so you don't get choices. And they did not like people like me who were not yes people. I was not a do first, question later thing. or a person. Like, you're supposed to follow the orders first, and then if you're curious about why they were given, ask about it after the fact. Like, no, thank you. I don't operate that way. If I don't understand why you're telling me to do something and you don't give me an explanation that makes sense, I'm not fucking doing it. And so that's why I barely went to any of those mandatory PT things. Like, what a joke. What a joke. They call us the chair force for a reason, because their idea of exercising for the longest time was sit in the circle on like a football field in the middle of the damn day and stretch for an hour. So, like there was this one time. I got stories for days. I can't, that's not what I'm on here for. I'm just basically like, I can't believe that I can't believe it, but I can believe it that people are being forced to do things against their will that make no fucking sense. And it's not fair. That's not just. It's not very ethical at all. And this is happening inside the cult of the military. Because once you sign up for it, like, you have to do what they tell you to do. And if they tell you to do something unlawful and you say no, you still get fucked over some way for it, you know? And I can't even imagine what I would right now if I were in the military with the way that I am. Um, they'd have to kick me out or something. I would never. I wouldn't even try to like go on the computer and find out how to fake a receipt of a purchase of a movie ticket. I would just be like, no. Um, anyways, I was really surprised and shocked and disappointed to hear that that's being done. Because I mean, I very much like I don't like being told what to do. I never should have gone into the military, but I really thought that I was told that was my only option. My parents told me, it's your only option, go into the military. And as I'm talking about this, how much time am I spending on this? Okay. It feels longer than 17 minutes. Like, I feel this anger whenever I think about the military. And there has been lots of stuff that happened to me, and I've processed through quite a lot of it and have like overcome it, worked through it. But there's also, I'm realizing, like, a lot that I guess I haven't processed. Um, like the military, those 5 years really just changed my life. Not in, I don't know if it was in a good, it wasn't in a good way for a very long time, very many years after I got out. My life was just so much that I saw in the military that I didn't want to see, and stuff that was done to me that I didn't want done to me. And, and these people that you're not allowed to question, telling you to do things that are like not good for your health, like physically and mentally, like, and you're not allowed to question it. And if you do, like, any number of things can happen to you. Like, they don't want you in there if you aren't part of the brainwashing and don't just yes, no, yeah, or yes your way through everything. Sorry. Fucking military. So, yeah, and let me just tell you this fun little fact in case you haven't listened to that episode. So, like, when you're in the military, well, I should say when I was in the military, I would go to watch a movie on base. And if you're just living on the base but you're not in the military, you have to stand up because they play the Pledge of Allegiance at the beginning of every movie, and you have to put your hand over your heart. And if you're in the military and, like, whether or not you're in your uniform, you stand at attention for the Pledge of Allegiance before you get to sit and enjoy the movie. Now, does anybody remember Spice World? Now imagine how serious the whole movie theater is because you have to stand at attention and recite the Pledge of Allegiance and then sit down and watch fucking Spice World like you didn't just do some formal weird fucking cult thing. It's weird. It was weird. Like, and I never did it. No, I did. I did one time. But then after that, I was like, wow, I don't like how I feel. I was looking around. What was I, 13, 12? I was looking around at all these kids and adults, and I was like, why is everybody doing this? This doesn't feel natural. This is just Spice World I'm watching. Like, and I've seen, over the years, both growing up and when I was in the military and would go to movies, I've seen people get singled out for not standing during that part and being escorted out of the theater, not allowed to watch the movie because they didn't participate in the Pledge of Allegiance. It's a cult, people. It's a fucking cult. I was in a cult. So, yeah, I just needed to get that out of my head. Thank you for listening. I don't know what what good this did you. Um, but I really haven't heard from anybody that has been in the military that listens to this podcast. So if any of you are out there, and you share like similar viewpoints to me, not necessarily the exact same, but I'd like to hear from you. I don't know. And I think if it's okay with you, I think I might just have to talk a little bit more about some of the stuff that I experienced in the military that I didn't want to, because I could write books for months on some of these things. And so like maybe I don't know, I'll bring stuff up every so often, and only if it seems to serve some sort of a purpose for myself and you, of course. But I don't want to talk just to talk. So my brain feels great now, and I'm gonna go take a gummy. And by the way, let me just this is just a little opinion that doesn't matter. My wife is out there watching the Super Bowl. And so I just got done before I came in here. I made some ramen and I was like watching it with her while I was eating ramen. I don't watch football because it's a weird sport to me. And I'm like, I see these people. So, like, you got these dudes just tackling other dudes, and then they stand up. Like they're all proud and they beat their chest like, I fucking tackled you. I got you down. And like that's the whole game is just alpha males like beating their chests like I got you down. Like, it's weird, isn't it? Isn't it, like, very strange if you think about it? It's just like a weird sport where it starts and it stops and it starts and it stops and it starts and it stops and it starts and it stops. And I don't like watching sports like that, which is why I like soccer because it keeps going. And it's hard to tell who's going to win because it's so hard to make a goal sometimes. And this one just starts and stops. And all you're doing is you're just trying to throw a ball to somebody and tackling people to the ground so they don't get the ball. It's weird. What a weird sport. Okay, bye.